Hi everyone.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, madam.
I hope you are all doing well.
By God's grace, doctor.
We thank God. So I believe we can start. Um,
Yes, please.
Today we are going to talk about something very interesting: business ethics and corporate social responsibility. Um, Very interesting because it brings out some truths and principles that should guide us as individuals, as employees, and also as a business. That is the business as a corporate entity, how we ought to behave. If there any good in that, and how does it benefit the business? So let's dive into it. Okay, so these are the learning outcomes that we expect to assimilate at the end of the lecture. So note them very well. All right. So we are looking at ethics and what it is. So here you see some definitions for ethics, but the concept of ethics can very well be understood if we start with what ethics is not, because we sometimes confuse ethics with certain things, and we think whilst we talk about that, we are equally talking about ethics, in as much as those things may have some similarities with ethics, they might not be the same. And so we are going to deduct what ethics is not from what ethics is. When we are done with the deduction, the definition of ethics will come clear um, to all of us. So the first thing you have to note is that when we talk about ethics, we are not talking about religion. In other words, ethics and religion are not the same. Ethics is not the same as religion or following religious um, dictates. Don't get it wrong. Many religions teach principles and virtues that lay foundation for ethics. If you find someone who is religiously inclined, someone who adheres to the principles of the very religion that he or she subscribes to, chances are that that person would do things the right way. So many religions lay foundation for ethical behavior, but we still cannot say religion and ethics are the same. And this is because some religion and people who practice it take it a notch higher. They go to the extreme and they do things that harm people that are not acceptable or in the name of religion. We call these people religious fanatics or religious extremists. So you have people who will kill in the name of religion, and they believe that once it is in the name of their religion, it is good, it is the right thing to do. Some religious practices are so atrocious, they harm people. And those who practice it believe that once it is done in the name of religion, it is the right thing to do. So people kill, people destroy, people maim others, people take other people's things, people do things that are not acceptable, all in the name of religion. In the practice of religion, people's rights are trampled upon. People are prevented from living their full potential, all because they believe that they are doing that in the name of religion. And there is a God or a deity somewhere that okays what they are doing. And so it is the right thing to do. Some time ago, there was I think it was a nurse. Um, I don't know whether it was a nurse, but I saw it on TV3. A certain group of people who had left the city and they had settled in a forest somewhere, and they say the city is evil, so they don't want to have anything to do with the city. There was a boy who was supposed to be in class 4, and he schooled there because there was a lady who had completed University of Ghana, and she also believed that city life is against God's will. So she had also joined that group, and she was the one teaching this boy. So he was the only pupil in that imaginary class 4 or so. And everything they were talking about, you realize that they've been indoctrinated to see everything wrong with modern life. Everything about modernity is evil unless you go to nature. And so you don't do anything that is against what they believe in says. And it was very pathetic looking at them, looking at the children who had been indoctrinated to believe that everything about life and modernity is wrong and is against the will of God. This is what religious fanatics are. This is how they behave. Those who believe that if they put a bomb their in uh, in their clothes and go somewhere and detonate it to kill a number of people, they have done well. God will welcome them and reward them with 7 virgins because they fought a holy war for um, God. You realize that it is not all the people in these said religions who do these things. But like I said, there are some who take it to the extreme, and we call them the religious extremists or religious fanatics. So to the extent that in the name of religion, some things that are unacceptable can be done, you cannot say that religion and ethics are the same, even though many religions teach virtues that lay foundation for ethical behavior. The second one is that ethics is not the same as culture or following culturally acceptable norms. Culture is the way of life of a group of people. It's about the totality of people, who they are, how they think and reason, what they do, from their profession to their housing, to what they eat, to what they wear, to their practices, their customs, their norms, is the totality of a group of people. And every group of people have their own kind of culture. And so we say culture is universal. All groups of people have their own culture that is peculiar to them. The thing with culture is that if it is my culture, I love it. I appreciate everything about that culture because it is who I am. If you are not part of that culture, there are things that you might see to be totally wrong with it. So some things are very acceptable in one society, but in other societies, it's not acceptable at all. The way people marry. When you go to some parts of even Ghana here, there are a whole lot of practices that are acceptable and recognized as marriage. For example, there is marriage by exchange. So if you are ready to marry as a man, you take your sister, and then the family you want to marry into, you go and give them your sister and pick the woman you want to marry. It's done. Marriage by exchange. Other parts of Ghana, that is not acceptable. Because once someone is married into that family, it is believed that the two families have become one. And so you cannot marry your own family member. It is not accepted. There are parts of the world where if you have a guest as a man and you want to give that guest the best of hospitality, you give your wife to him for the night. Try that in Ghana and there will be civil war. It's unaccepted here. So when you hear about it, you're like, oh, what kind of practice is this? But the people who practice it do not see anything wrong with it. It is who they are and they love it. They appreciate it. Somebody sees you and greets you with the left hand. It's cool. Somewhere. You bring it here and there is a problem. There are things that per your culture, you see it to be normal, acceptable. There are elsewhere that the same thing will be seen to be outrageous, unacceptable, and cannot be accepted in the practice of anything. I mean, it is just not acceptable. So for this reason, you cannot say that culture and ethics are the same. They are not the same, even though many cultures train and teach the people who practice it to have some virtues that lay foundation for good behavior or behavior that is right or ethical behavior. The taboos we have, our belief system teach us, don't touch somebody's thing. So you do right, you do good, and that is accepted as being a right thing to do. So it is ethical. So that is the relationship. In as much as culture lays a good foundation for ethical behavior, we can still not equate the two to be the same because we don't have one kind of culture for everybody around the world. Each group of people have their own culture, and what one group sees to be good, the other might see it to be wrong. Number 3, ethics is not the same as law or following legal practice or legal principles. Yes, the law interprets issues on what is and what is not. The law makes us understand that this is right and this is wrong. But the thing with the law is that sometimes some things are lawful, but if you look at it from another angle, it might not be accepted. It might not be an acceptable way of doing or the right thing to do. Another time too, a few people who are privileged to have the law on their side can insulate themselves with the fact that what they are doing is legal and do things that are not right. So a few people who have the power of making laws can make laws to protect themselves. And in the name of this is legal, it is legal, then they do all sort of things that, humanly speaking, those things are not supposed to be done. They are unacceptable. So you cannot say, if it is legal, then it is ethical. No, you can have something that is legal, but it's unethical. Some years ago, an incident happened on Legon campus where a lecturer's son fell sick in the night, and he put him in his car and was taking him to the hospital. So he got to the security post and asked the security man to open the gate so he could go. And the security man said it is past the time for the gates to be open. So he cannot open. The laws he's working with do not allow him to open the gate at that time. The man tried to reason with him that his child was sick, and so he was taking him to the hospital. Then the security man said something interesting. He said, Doc, mmara no mo ana mo hyehyɛ nti me de me di so keke. The big men at the top, you formulated these laws. So my job is to follow this law to the letter. So I'm sorry, cannot open the gate. The man turned to go. When he got to the car, he realized his son was dead. So whilst he was there trying to argue with the security man to open the gate for him, the son died in the process. So legally, the security man didn't fault because he was just following the law. But was it the right thing to do? In the name of following the law is a means to an end. The law is supposed to make us understand, give us some way of behaving so that we don't crash over each other. The law is there to regulate human behavior so that we can do the right thing. But is the law an end in itself, or it's a means to an end? These are questions that come up when you are confronted with situations that legality and ethical issues clash. And so because of these things, you can't say they are the same. They clash at a point in time. And it does happen a lot. Because of that, you cannot equate the two. To the extent that they can even clash at a point in time means they are not the same. So ethics and law are not the same, even though they have a lot of things in common. The law helps us to understand what is right and what is wrong because of the reasons I have given, that some people who are privileged and have the law on their side can use the law to do things that ethically might not be accepted. And then the fact that the law in itself can clash with ethics, and we get to a point and we realize that not all things that are legal are ethical. You cannot equate the two. The next thing you should understand is that ethics is not the same as feelings. What I feel like doing, what you feel like doing at every point in time. If feelings and ethics were the same, then rapists will never be charged. Armed robbers would harm, maim people, and get away with it. Why? Because that was what they felt like doing. Human beings are conscious people, and many people feel good when they do the right thing. But unfortunately, there are people who feel happy when they are doing the wrong thing. There are people who kill, who murder others, and they film the whole process they watch and they are happy. It's not a good feeling. And so if people want to act on their feelings all the time, and we will say that once you feel like doing it, it is the right thing to do, then we are in trouble. We will live in a society where it will be survival of the fittest. And so feelings and ethics are not the same, even though we do agree to the fact that many people have conscience. And so they feel good when they do the right thing, and they feel bad when they do the wrong thing. Yet others feel good when they do the wrong thing. And so you cannot equate the two. The next one is that ethics is not the same as science. Science explains human phenomena to us. Science will give us information. Science will explain the situation. Science will give us facts and figures, but science cannot tell human beings on what to do. If we should do the right thing or the wrong thing, science does not have that power. So, for example, Galamsey. People have gone to Galamsey sites to take soil samples, water samples. They've gone to the lab, tested these things. They have come up and publicly espoused on what is really happening as far as our water bodies are concerned, as far as our soil are concerned, if we continue with Galamsey. Ghana Medical Association came out with a strong worded statement that children that are born from Galamsey sites are maimed. Some come with parts of their bodies missing and all that. And they have explained the scientific explanations that underpin or underline all these occurrences. And they have emphatically said that we should stop Galamsey. Ghana Water started preaching that if we do not stop the way we are polluting our water bodies, a time is going to come we will have to import drinking water. We have all these facts because they have all been scientifically proven that this is where we are heading to. The question we ask is, has it ended Galamsey? Hell not, it hasn't. In the face of all the scientific facts and figures, people still do the wrong thing. People still do things that are unacceptable. It tells you that science has a limit, but human consciousness, human feelings, human beliefs goes beyond scientific facts and figures. For this reason, science and ethics are not the same. What about things like, say, cloning? Cloning. So I can be cloned. And so you find a replica of me doing what I'm doing elsewhere. And it solves a problem of human resource. Assume, so for your class, I changed it. I swapped the time because I had two classes clashing at that time. And so if I had a clone, then my clone would have handled the other class seamlessly, effortlessly. But the question is it right? Abraham, your hand is up. Abraham, your hand is up.
Sorry, please.
Okay. So like I'm saying, clone is a scientific thing. So if I could be cloned, then you will have me teaching here and my clone teaching elsewhere. The thing is, you can't even tell who is the real me and who is my clone. Some people have said cloning is unethical because it takes a very biological process to bring a human being to his or her form and nature, intellect, and everything. So why use a scientific experiment to create a version of that same person that is devoid of the biological process? It is not right. It is unacceptable. It defies the very laws of nature. So it's unacceptable. That is a school of thought. So to the extent that we understand that some science experiment, some scientific activities may be unacceptable as far as human existence and practices are concerned. And also to the extent that we can have a situation whereby science can give us facts and figures and explanation, but it cannot tell human beings how they ought to behave because human beings have their own mindset, their beliefs, their feelings, and they do what they want to do based on who they are, their consciousness, and what is at stake. You cannot say that science and ethics are the same. So if it is not science, if it is not feelings, if it is not culture, if it is not the law, and if it is not religion, then what is ethics? Ethics are basically some principles of behavior. Remember the word principles. So there are so many principles of them. And all these principles are there to guide the way human beings behave. And this behavior is to the extent that the principles tells us that this is good, this is bad, this is wrong, and this is right. And these principles are universal. They are accepted everywhere, irrespective of your religious background, your cultural background, your belief system, and all that. The principles that guide ethical behavior, spells out wrong is wrong, right is right, and it cuts across all societies and everywhere. So that is ethics for you. It is the moral principles that will govern your behavior so you know and you understand that right is right, wrong is wrong. As my Equiapim people will say, ade enye de, na enye. It doesn't matter how you want to defend it or the issues at stake. If it is wrong, it is wrong. If it is right, it is right. And human beings individually have beliefs, okay? And there are also norms, societal norms, from all corners. So we'll see from your family, your religious affiliation, because they all form the foundation of ethical behavior anyway. So they all come together to make you who you are. And so you are that person who we know and trust that when it comes to Abraham, his yes is his yes, and his no is his no. And he is bound to do the right thing. He sees it as it is and says it as it is. Then we know that your behavior is ethical. So when your belief system and the societal norms translate into your behavior that is right and good, we say your behavior is ethical. So the opposite is that your behavior is unethical. So when all society is going to left, then you are going to the right. So what society sees to be wrong, you think it is right. What society says is right, you say it is wrong. Then we can say that for you, your behavior is unethical. So it's two things. There is no midway. It's either it is ethical or it is unethical. That is it. That is it. So every business as a corporate entity, I have told you that a business is also a citizen, just that it is a corporate citizen. So a business living, residing in a society, in the environment, you also have to behave in ways that are acceptable, that are seen to be right. And this has to do with how employees conduct themselves, and most importantly, how managers also conduct themselves in the business. In the business. So it is individuals who come together to work in a corporate entity. And so we bring our individual beliefs, norms, and practices into the organization. And then we come into the organization to find out what the organization accepts to be right and what it accepts to be wrong. And so we conform and do that which the organization sees to be right. Then we can say that there is ethics in the business, as in the business does that which is right and frowns on that which is wrong. And it doesn't matter whether it's the employees or top management. We are all doing that. So our behavior reflects that we believe in doing the right thing. So I said employees ought to behave right, and managers also ought to behave in an ethical manner. And you see, that of the manager is very crucial. Why do I say that? They say if you find a snake and you are able to cut off its head, the rest is nothing. It's powerless. It's just a rope. So the head of every unit is very important. What you do and how you go about it is very, very, very important, because you have people following you. And if you do the right thing, they will emulate you. If you do the wrong thing, they will emulate you. But the thing with the unethical behavior of a manager is that they will not just emulate you, but they will punish you as well. They will not just emulate you, but they will punish you. Employees will punish you for your unethical behavior. They will punish you to the extent that when they behave in ways that are unacceptable, you don't have the moral right to correct them, because yours is even the bigger fish. So how you behave towards employees is very crucial. Managers who solicit for sexual favors from subordinates, and this cuts across. Male bosses do it, female bosses do it. Even though I can say for a fact that we hear more of the male bosses soliciting for sexual favors from employees, female employees. There's a conference. Workers have to go. It has to be according to merit. And everybody knows that this person has performed very well. And so naturally, it's even not debatable. We know this person is going. And from nowhere, you realize that the person has been sidelined. No communication was given. And someone who doesn't even know jack about what is being done is the one who has been given that award. Best performing worker. Somebody who hardly comes to work wins it. And the people who have been working do not win it. All these behavior are not acceptable. And this is the responsibility of the manager to see to it that their behavior towards employees are ethical. Then towards the organization, you see people who take the organization and its resources as if it is their own personal resources and they use them anyhow. They use organizational hours, premises, equipment, whatever, to do their own thing at the expense of the business. Some people will let employees do what would have been taught was their main work, and the revenue that is accrued, they are instructed to deposit them into private accounts at the expense of the organization. These are all unacceptable behavior. It's unethical. You are supposed to pay taxes, you won't pay, renew permit, you won't do it, you cut corners, and you find yourself in trouble with other businesses. The organization has contracted loan, the loan has been diverted for a different reason, and so the organization owes their creditors. These are all unethical behavior that managers ought to be careful of. So if we see your behavior to be um acceptable, like you are ethical, uh, your values, what you stand for, shows that you are ethical in your behavior. It has to have some sources, and this varies from one person to the other. The individuals exhibit ethical behavior based on their religious background. We said that religion lays foundation for ethical behavior, and it is very, very, very true. Very true. I know um, you might have worked or heard of people who you can bet that they will not compromise on the right thing being done. They will ensure that the right thing is done. And you check their background, and they are people who have strong affinity to a certain religious belief. So your religion influences whether your behavior is ethical or not as a manager and as a person. Yeah. The next thing is your family. You see, the basic unit of society. This is where you were born. You started learning how to talk and behave, where you were corrected and you were molded into who you are. And once that family values are planted in you, it stays with you forever. Growing up, my father would tell us that if you do something wrong and he asks and you tell him the truth, he will not punish you. But if you lie and he finds out that you lied, you'll be punished not because of what you did, but because you told a lie. So in my home, telling the truth was non-negotiable. My father would keep saying, a person who does not tell the truth is very dangerous to live with, because you will never know when the person is telling a lie or the person is telling you the truth. And you will take life's decisions based on what you have been told. So if what you have been told happen to be lies. It means you have taken wrong decisions based on what you were told. And so to my father, you never compromise with the truth. And he lived with us. So who did this? I did. And we've also grown up and imbibed that into our children. And so just like my father in my home, that is it. Tell the truth, nothing but the truth. If I find out that you are lying, that is where you get it. And all families have things that they have imbibed into their children, and they raise them with it, and it becomes part and parcel of them. And because of that, they have some kind of identity and they stick with them. So it makes them behave in ways that are right and acceptable. Then remember also that the opposite is also possible. So if people were not raised with good values, it tells in their behavior. If you are employing people, you would want to look at certain qualities. You want to look at certain qualities and decide that you want to work with these people or you don't want to work with these people. I saw a video on social media, a certain young man who lived with his father, and his father was always on his neck. Put the light off if you don't need it. Put the fan off if you don't need it. Close the door. Do this. Do that. If you find something lying there, whether you are the one who placed it there or not, make sure you take it and put it at where it's supposed to be. So the father was always on his neck, and he felt that his father was disturbing him. And so he kept saying that one day when he grows and he finds a job, he will just leave that house for his father. That man disturbs him too much. Then he grew, he completed university and he applied for a job and he went for the interview. So when he was going, all he was thinking of was that he would make it, he will get the job and leave that house for that old man who never stops giving instructions and disturbing his peace of mind. So he enters this office, and then he's ushered into, he's shown that the interview is being conducted on this floor. So take this, take this. So he was given a direction. And then he had to get out of the reception, cross a lawn, and get into that building. So when he was crossing the lawn, he realized that a tap had been left on, and water was just gushing out on the lawn. So he just quickly turned it off, and then he kept going. When he entered that office, as soon as he entered, he realized that a broom that was supposed to be behind the stairs was lying in front of the stairs. So he picked it, turned around, and then saw that there were brooms there. So he just added it to it and he kept going. Whilst he was climbing the stairs, he realized that it was daytime. The place was bright, but the lights were on. So it was conscious. So he unconscious. He switched everything off. And he kept correcting things until he got to where others were seated and waiting. He greeted them and then he sat down. When it was his turn, he got there, they asked him of his name, where he lives, and all those things, and they told him that he's gotten the job. And he was asking, "You never asked me any questions, so how come I got the job?" And they showed him the footage of everything he did. And they told him everything was intentional. They just wanted someone who paid attention to detail, someone who is conscious of righting the wrong, even if he's not the person who committed the wrong. And he got a job, a very good job. And he realized that leaving his father um, was not even negotiable. He was not going to leave his father. Because apparently, it's the things that the father taught him, which he thought was a nuisance, that has brought him thus far. What am I saying? Family, values, virtues give us foundations for us to act, behave in ethical ways that are acceptable. And then society. The family is a basic unit of society. So families come together to form society. Society accepts some things, society frowns on some things. And so if you are part of a society, you know that this is not acceptable in our society. Time and time again, you see videos of people who are doing the wrong thing on social media, and people will gang up and fight against it. They will keep tagging until the police are able to locate that person and show them some shaggy. Why? Society does not accept that. One recent video of a certain man who uh, beat his wife up, dragged him to the compound almost naked, and all those things. And a tenant took a video and it went viral. That man was arrested. I think the case is even still pending. There was an uproar why society does not accept that kind of behavior. It is who we are. And so if you live in a society, you will not go against the norms of society. When you go against the norms of society, that is where we call it a deviation from societal norms. We will say you are a social deviant. If you go against the norms of society, we say you are deviating from societal norms, and so you are a social deviant. And so the norms that society raise us with, that of the family and our religion, come together to form our ethical values. So they dictate whether we do the right thing or the wrong thing. And if you are a manager, you have to ensure that intentionally your behavior at the workplace is ethical, else you are closing the business gradually. Why is a business supposed to act right, do the right thing? It prevents more practices. So once we know what is acceptable and unacceptable in the business, and there are codes of conduct in place to ensure that good is rewarded, bad is punished, people will make sure they do the right thing. And so it prevents more practices. There are people who are naturally inclined to do the right thing. If such people find themselves in businesses where ethics is highly placed, then they have the confidence to do the right thing. There are some businesses, the right is rather punished and the wrong is praised. When you do that, you harm people who are inclined to do the right thing and they don't have confidence. But if I know that here, if I do the right thing, I will be I'll be safe. Even if I'm not rewarded, I will be safe. Then it raises people's confidence. And like I said, The very survival and growth of your business depends on if you are doing the right thing or not. Because trust you me, you can cut corners, but it can never be forever. You will be caught. Eventually, you will be caught. Doing the right thing protects consumer rights. As consumers, we have rights. We have rights. So if you do the right thing as a business, then you protect our rights. If you go to your typical Ghanaian market to buy anything that is measured, so the stuff that we buy and they use containers to measure. Me to my dream back, me to lunka back, and all those things. Chances are that all of us are deceived. And so our rights as consumers, where we pay for products and we are supposed to get a certain value, we don't get. They trample upon our rights because it's either the container has been cut and refixed to reduce the volume, or they've stuck some things inside the container. And so forget it. It doesn't matter how smiling, nice, accommodating that person looks. That's what they do to us. They do to us. If you are a business and you do the right thing, you have a good relationship with society. The other time I mentioned goodwill of the people. If they know you are doing the right thing, they will like you, they will support you. A relationship between the business and the society will be cool. And your image will be positive, will be good. If you are seen to be doing the wrong thing, they'll fight you and your business will struggle if they don't close it down. Doing the right thing protects employees and other stakeholders. If every business is acting ethically, there will be healthy competition. How you conduct your business will be smooth because you don't need to go to any length to outdo this person and all that. Customers will get value for what they paid for, and everybody will be happy. So when we talk about business ethics, we are talking about values and principles that the business accepts as the right thing to do as far as the operations are concerned. So values and principles of a business that are acceptable, that are permitted as the right thing to do in as far as the business is concerned is business ethics. So it guides what is done at the business, what is done and what is not done. You see, you should understand that if we know that what you do is right, we will trust you and we have confidence in you, and your business will thrive. If you don't do it well, you have negative publicity and we will not patronize you. And so your business will fold up. And you will blame the witches and wizards of Africa who are innocent because they themselves, they don't even know what's happening. All right. So if you want to make ethics part of your practices as a business, you can do any of these. Have a code of conduct that is written down. So it can be in the form of a book, and that will guide you. When I mention you, I'm talking about the business as a whole. To know what is acceptable here and what is unacceptable. or you can put in place some programs that from time to time you will embark on to ensure that everybody in the business is doing that which is acceptable or not. See, factors that cause employees to act unethical. Now, many businesses give targets, whether it is sales or profits, the number of clients you are supposed to bring in this quarter, this year. Ask the insurance company people, they will tell you are supposed to bring in this number of clients, and it is crazy out there. And so because of that pressure, some people resort to unacceptable ways of meeting these targets. So for the insurance people and even the banks, when they are selling their products to you, they are very selective with the information. They make it sound so nice. If you are not able to ask the relevant questions, you get hooked onto the product, and later on you find out that you've made a mistake. So for the banks, they tell you, oh, come for loan. Our interest rates are very low. The prevailing market rate is 25. We have reduced ours to 22.5. And no, it is just it's annual. It's not monthly, it's annual. Then they say that to you. Sounds so simple, but this is superficial information. You don't ask questions, and then you sign and they give you the money. And they'll tell you, oh, the first 2 months is a holiday for you. So you start payment after the third month, and you are happy. Then on the third month, your salary drop. And before you say Jack, they have deducted, and you realize that you are just getting 40% of your salary. And seriously speaking, it is not 22.5% because the amount you took is big. You cannot pay it within a year. And so the deductions they gave to you, you are paying it over 5 years. And if you put everything together, you will come to realize that by the time you are done paying, you are paying about 150% of the amount you took. Information that is kept away from you. Is it acceptable? No, it is not acceptable. But because of pressure, they will do all that. People resort to unconventional ways of convincing people to sign on, especially the businessmen. If you are a fan of Nigerian movies, you say it. Why don't you come to my hotel so that we will talk about this account? I'll sign, but you come and see me and all those things. All those things. Um, yeah, putting pressure on these people to go beyond what they are supposed to do, or in the name of meeting these targets. Then also, people who do the right thing are not recognized. So if that goes on for a long time, yeah, so papa anyosha, boni so nyeshe. So we too will join. We will join. And then personal financial worries. People have issues. I mean, the hustle is real. There are bills to be paid. People's incomes are not enough. In fact, if you work in Ghana, our income levels are low. So people have financial issues all the time. But you have access to money because where you are working, money passes in front of you like a wiper. If you are not someone whose beliefs and principles are against this, you will touch it. It is not for any reason. I mean, it is for this reason that you find out that most of the frauds that go on in banks are perpetuated by staff of the banks because they have access to these accounts and they know how much are in people's accounts. People who don't even come to the bank the whole year, they will not pass there because the account is just the monies are dumped in regularly and the monies are just sitting there. And you have bad people working in these banks. They block the SMS from getting to you and they will be working through your account. Some will use other people's dormant account for money laundering and other things. People use other people's bank statements, prepare the bank statement for other people and they collect money from them. And they send these statements to embassies as kind of say sponsorship packages for visa and so on and so forth. So all these things happen because people want money. Either they are hard pressed or they are just being greedy. Whatever it is, it's about money. And so they do all sort of things. And then people who are hard pressed with balancing work and family. So this is where, oh, I'm sick, I'm going to the hospital, but it's not true. So the person finds excuses to be absent, to be late, and all those things because there is work and family conflicting. And poor communication. I mentioned that earlier. Everybody knows that the best worker per the facts and figures is this person. And this is the award for the person. And when they're announcing the best worker, another person is mentioned. No communication goes on, and people feel that their efforts are not being recognized. And they also resort to other things. Yeah. So these are the top 5 unethical behavior that is seen at the workplace. Cutting of corners as far as quality control is concerned. So what is supposed to be given, what's supposed to go into it is not done. It was a nurse who exposed a biscuits company that was using maggot-infested flour to prepare biscuits. Then that company was on the Spintex Road and eventually it was closed down. I don't know what happened to it, but it was terrible. When the videos came out, it was so terrible. You see maggots in the flour and they will just pour everything into the machine and the unsuspecting customer will buy the biscuit. Only God knows what happens to leftover foods that are not bought as far as restaurants and food joints are concerned. What do? Do they throw them away or they add it to the next day's food? And how are these preserved when it comes to safety, cleanliness, and all these things? What happens behind the scenes? The foods that are served nicely to us is the quality compromised or we are getting what we are supposed to get? Cutting corners, pre-mixed fuel being mixed with fuel, petrol and diesel, and sold to the unsuspecting car owner, cutting of corners. If you buy a groundnut paste from the market, chances are that you are getting other things in there. I have a gallon of honey in my house as I speak to you. I don't know what to use it for because I realized that it's been mixed with some substance. I don't know where I bought it. The first time I bought it, it was good. And so I bought it a second time, and the person told me that her supply is finished. So she's going to order from another supplier for me. I asked her, what about the quality? So we all buy from the same source, so don't worry. It came, and initially I didn't observe. But one day something told me to check a small container that I poured some into, and something had settled at the bottom. I'm like, honey, settlement. So I used something to scoop. And I can't, as at now, I can't tell what substance it is. It doesn't look like sugar. So I don't know what it is. Cutting of corners as far as quality is concerned. Then incidents being covered up. Something happens, you don't tell, then you cover it up. So many a times machines hurt people, not because the people were not careful, but probably something happened when someone was using the machine previously and the person kept quiet, and whatever had started to go wrong was not picked. And so you have people whose limbs are being cut off because of these things, covering up of incidents. Your child goes to school, the child falls down, and the teacher saw it and they're silent. So you bring your child home and the child cries all night. And the child is not even able to tell exactly what is wrong because they don't have that vocabulary. And you are perplexed. You don't know what to do. Covering up of incidents. All these are unethical behavior. And then because of family life and work, people are always looking for excuses. So I'm sick. I went to the hospital, and uh, sometimes these lies are for religious purposes, unfortunately. The person is going for a church program, and then the person would lie to his or her employers that, oh, I'm sick. I went to the hospital and the doctor gave me excuse duty. Some even forge excuse duties. So the person has an excuse duty and the person just is able to change the date or add a number to the date. So it's 6, the person adds 2, makes it 26, and off we go. All these are unethical behavior. You deceive customers. I was talking about measurements. If you buy fuel, the chances are that the machines have been adjusted. So you are paying for an amount that you have not been served with. I bought fuel at Abri Girl. When I left Koforidua, I bought fuel at Total, and the amount I paid for the full tank. After roaming, when I was coming back, it was half. So I decided that, oh, let me top it up. Um, I so that I'll have a full tank. Ah, they started. Kiriri, kiriri, kiriri. Something said I should check. When I turned, it was not full yet. Remember, I said it was at half. They were still pumping. It was not full, but the amount had exceeded how much I used in filling the car before I left Koforidua. And I was like, why? Why? What kind of deception is that? So I I told them to stop, and they stopped, and I paid them, and it was still not full, but I had paid close to 30% more of how much I used in filling the whole car in Koforidua. It was absurd, but that is what they do to us. That's what they do to us as customers. And then inappropriate pressure on others. I mentioned that earlier. So those are the 5 top unethical behavior that is exhibited. So if you are a business and you want to foster ethical behavior at the workplace, these are the 4 things you should do. The first and foremost is the top management. Lead for the employees to follow. So everything that management does should be ethical. It's in your interest to ensure that managerial behavior is ethical. It's as simple as that. If you don't want trouble, because you cannot convince employees who see what you do to act ethical, it's not going to work. So if you want your business and the people who work there to do the right thing, you to do the right thing in everything that is done in the name of management. Then have a code of conduct for the business. So if you work here, A, B, C, D is accepted. Q, X, Y, Z is not accepted. Good is rewarded. Bad is punished. Then let this code of conduct work so that people with integrity can be themselves and work. And then you should also have measures in place for peer review for employees to, as it is, check each other to ensure that you are doing the right thing. So when you come to as lecturers, we have what we call peer review. So a colleague is supposed to sit in my lecture to review my work, and then I also do same for him or her. And then we also allow students in every course you take, you are supposed to assess the lecturer. There are parameters there. There are options that are given to you to tick. And at the end of the day, the report that will be generated out will tell if the lecturer is doing the right thing or not. And then there is whistle blowing. Whistle blowing essentially is when you are working somewhere and you see that something is going wrong there and unethical behavior is being exhibited, you can say it and your cover will not be blown. You will be protected once it is seen that yes, it is verified that yes, the information you give is true. Not that you don't like someone, so you go and lie about the person. That's not what we are saying. We are talking about proper whistle blowing. Okay. So if you are a manager, these are the factors that influence your ethical behavior. It is about you, the individual, your values, your work background, your family status. And then your personality. And then for the organization, it's about the philosophy of top management. What is the thinking? What is the organization's reward system? Do you reward good and punish bad, or what? And then the competition, as far as the environment is concerned. Good competition makes work easy. If the competition is bad, it affects the way businesses behave, the economic conditions prevailing, and then the very society that you operate in. What are their norms? What do they value and what do they frown upon? Okay, so you are a doctor. A 13-year-old girl has come to your office that she is pregnant and she wants an abortion. She was raped, and so this pregnancy was not by her consent. She's a young lady with her life ahead of her. Her education is at stake. She has rights, and so is the baby inside her womb. What are the laws of the land saying legally when it comes to abortion? Has there been any court decision on a similar case, and what was the outcome? You belong to Ghana Medical Association. What do they say about things like that? What religion do you belong to? Are you a Christian? Are you a Muslim? Are you a traditionalist? Are you a Buddhist, a Hindi, or what are you? What does your religion say about some of these things? What are the teachings that you believe in that has shaped your thinking and your behavior? What am I saying? When you are hit with an ethical dilemma, and an ethical dilemma is a situation whereby there is a decision to be made, and the options are many. They all have pros and cons. And so whatever decision you take has both sides, pros and cons that you will have to think through before you take a decision. That is an ethical dilemma. If you are hit with such a situation and you don't know whether you should go to left or right, let these factors influence your decision so that you make a decision that at the end of the day you can defend that you did the right thing. So as a business, you can take a decision that is ethical but illegal. And you can also take a decision that is unethical, but that is unethical and it is illegal. And then you can also take a decision that is unethical but legal. And then you can also take a decision that is ethical and legal. Remember, each of these has consequences on your business, and it is up to you to decide based on the principles that you operate with as a business to take a decision. So maybe this will help you If you are able to answer these questions, it will help you determine if your decision is right or wrong. Are there potential legal restrictions or violations that could result from the action? Does your company have a specific code of ethics or policy on the action? So, with the case of the doctor, what does your hypocritical oath say about this, whether you should conduct the abortion or not? Is this activity customary in your industry? Are there any industry trade groups that provide guidelines or codes of conduct that address this issue? What is the stand of the medical association on this? Would this activity be accepted by your co-workers? Will your decision of action withstand open discussion with co-workers and managers and survive untarnished? If you take a particular decision, will the people you practice the same profession with look at you and say, Master, try. That's not how we do it. Or you did the right thing. If I were in your shoes, I would have done same. How does this activity fit with your own belief and values? There are times that even the profession supports an action, but it doesn't sit well with your personality. And so you say, no, I'm not doing this. And most importantly, how will you feel if your actions were published in the newspaper or telecast live on a television? Will you be fine with it? Or you will not be fine with it? So that is ethics for you. And closely associated with business ethics is corporate social responsibility. It's the organization or the business entity or the company taking responsibility for its actions. Why? Because you take all your resources from the society or the environment, which is input, and your end product, which is your output, is still sent back to this same environment or society. And so, to the extent that your success, how far you have come as a business, is as a result of all the resources you have taken from society. And the fact that it is society that has patronized your output for you to come this far, it is just right that you also give back to society. That is why corporate social responsibility is seen as an ethical thing to do. And so we say it is related to business ethics. It is a right thing to do. It is an acceptable thing to do. And so if you are a company and you are not giving back to society, there's everything wrong with it because you are taking and you are not giving. It is not right. So you have a responsibility to, as it is, make up for all the impact of your activities on society. All your byproducts, apart from your output, your byproducts goes back to the same environment. All your waste back to the environment. It is the same environment that patronizes your good or your service. So you get everything from us. You take from the environment, and the environment takes from the environment is at the receiving end of your end product. And then all your byproduct is still on us. So you take human beings from the environment, all your other resources from the environment, your end product comes back to the environment, and every money you make is from the environment. So it is the right thing to do to give back to society. As a business when you engage in corporate social responsibility, it's a social driver. Why? It is about people. Okay. So people get to come to terms with you. Some time ago, I saw the corporate social responsibility program of Vina Water. Vina Water. They took a disabled woman who was selling water in traffic. They took her off the streets, changed her life, opened a shop. Stacked it with water and other soft drinks, refrigerators, everything in place. Gave her a 2-bedroom apartment, took her for a makeover, handed everything over to her. It was a beautiful documentary that I watched. The way the woman's life was changed. And I just developed a soft spot for Vina. And since then, if I'm going to buy water and I see Vina, immediately that picture comes to my mind. And I want to patronize Vina because at least I know that when they get profit, they will churn some of the profit into supporting people in society. This is a social drive. And then governmental drive. It is something that is expected of you to do. And so when you do these things, when you give back to society, you are also fulfilling that. Market-wise, people get to know your product or your service and they patronize. So it drives the market, and ethically, it is the right thing to do. So you are doing something right. If you give back to society as a business, your brand is better recognized, your reputation is out there, good, positive. People patronize you, those who are with you stay, more people will come. Your operations are smoother. In fact, a good corporate social responsibility is better than advertisement because this one, it is not you telling us, it is we seeing what you are doing. And that affects people's decision to patronize you or not. Obviously, once your sales increase, your financial performance also increase. And then there are people who want to work with organizations that are doing something good for society. So people with talent, people who believe in doing good would want to work with you. So you can attract good talent and then staff will stay. And at the end of the day, your organization will grow. So to make corporate social responsibility a policy in your business, make sure that it is value-based, meaning it should deliver value. People should benefit from it. People should benefit from it. So whatever you decide to do as part of your corporate social responsibility, it should bring value, deliver value to the people. So if you are building schools, building computer labs, building roads, hospitals, clinics, chip compounds, markets, name them. All the things that you do to support society or to give back to society, make sure that it is delivering value to the people. And at the same time, it is offering you an opportunity to engage with your stakeholders. And you know who your stakeholders are. I gave this to you, so you know who stakeholders are. What you should understand is that there are primary stakeholders and there are secondary stakeholders. So the primary are employees, shareholders, customers, suppliers, creditors, and the secondary, local community, media, and the general public. They all have interest in your business and they have some kind of power. So when you engage them right, it helps your business in this sense. See, engaging with your stakeholders as part of giving back to society helps you to understand their expectations so that you can use that to revise your operations. For example, customers. If you have done something as a way of giving back to society, in that process, you are engaging with your stakeholders. So your customers are part of your stakeholders. And when you engage them, they will tell you what they expect, the things they feel you should change and all that. Sometimes you are going you're somewhere minding your business, then you will see say cowbell. They have mounted their stands. They are blasting music all over the place. They have samples of their products. They say people should come and taste. They have freebies that they are giving out, and then they're asking questions. So, which of our products do you like? Why do you like our products? Is there something you feel we should change? You think they are just asking these questions? They are engaging stakeholders. And it is their way of bonding, getting to understand what the expectations of their customers are so that they can use that to uh, refine what they do. Some years ago, I was part of a research team. The client was Unilever Ghana, the organization Research International. So what we're doing is they engaged us to they selected some communities. So I went to a certain village beyond Suhum, and we had questionnaires, a very voluminous one. So our job was to go to the people, talk to them, ask them the questions in the questionnaire, and then take the answers that they provide. And then when we are done, we give them a package. So the package was so the research was about how popular some of their products were, and the product was Lux, that bathing soap Lux, Sunlight, and then a particular washing powder. Was it a Sunlight washing powder? Yeah. And then Key soap. Yeah. So these products. So upon talking to these customers and engaging them, then we'll give you the package. And it was quite many. In fact, it was a polythene bag that had all these products in. And the instruction was to just give them out to these people as a way of engagement, to thank them for engaging us on behalf of Unilever. So stakeholder engagement as part of corporate social responsibility is very, very important. All right. So according to the stakeholder model, these 5 groups are the are the most common stakeholders that organizations deal with. Customers, employees, investors, suppliers, and then the local community. So you need to engage them. For customers, you need to engage them to treat them fairly and honestly. For employees, you need to treat them fairly and respect their dignity and human needs. For investors, those who have pumped their resources into your business, you have to respect them by following proper accounting procedures and then provide them with information about your financial performance. This is still with customers. And then with employees, you see, you owe it a duty to employees to treat them right, to the extent that even if you have to sack them, you have to treat them with respect and compassion. That era where somebody is sacked from the business and you are pushing the person, get out, get out, get out. No, it is unacceptable. It is unacceptable because this is a person who has given his or her intellect, ability, experience to help your business to move a notch higher. So you own them that respect. Any company that provides its employees with equal opportunities without regard to race, sex, or other irrelevant factors is meeting both its legal and its social responsibilities. So, when you treat your employees well and you give them equal opportunity, you are fulfilling your social responsibilities. This is very, very, very important. So this is for suppliers and the local community. Okay, so this is your assignment for this topic. It's the last but one slide. So when you see it, do it. Okay, so my dear friends, we have come to the end of today's class. We came to talk about ethics and business ethics and corporate social responsibility. We have established what ethics is and what ethics is not. We have taken it from the personal or individual level to the business level, and we have talked about what employees should do, what managers should do, and we have also established the fact that when a business engages in corporate social responsibility, it is ethical. It is the right thing to do. After taking so much from society, it is just fair. It's the right thing to do to give back to society. And we have established the fact that when a business engages in that, it helps the business in every positive way to survive and grow and make more profits. Question time.
Wow.
Okay.
Please,
So
is anyone having a question? Doctor,
yes.
didn't start early, but when we meet next week, we'll talk more. In fact,
You
today
have.
I don't have much to say. I wish all of us can just unmute and give Doctor just a snap of finger. Yeah. So amazing, so down to earth. We really appreciate you. And then God richly bless you. Thank you very much.
You're
All right.
welcome. Well, I wish you all the best in your next
All right.
lifetime.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh.
Bye.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon.
sir.
All right. So we can continue with our class. So for today, I want us to look at classifying and evaluating computers. So after today's class or discussion, we should be able to identify the types of personal computers that we have, describe a desktop computer, compare laptops and what are tablets, evaluate smartphones, describe embedded computers, describe servers and other large computers that we have. So these are the objectives for today's discussion. So the keywords or the key terms that we should know is all-in-one desktop. We should be abreast with what is known as convertible tablet. What are desktop computers, e-book readers, electronic page display, embedded computers, enterprise server, file server, handheld game devices, laptop computers, mainframe, netbook computers, network adapter, notebook. Personal computers, which we all refer to as PC, portable media player, scalability, supercomputer, tower, ultrabook, and web service. So these are the key terms that we should get abreast with, or after today's class, we should be able to know what all this entails. So we'll start off by looking at what you should look out for when you are preparing to purchase a computer. So